I'm in the greenhouse here, and I've been meaning to do a little bit of work in here because the moles are really, we're having a bad year for moles this year, but it's been a little hot, needless to say, and finally we got overcast skies, so I'm going to do a little work in the greenhouse. These are two planters that I got to get weeded out and planted, and I came in and I have got two beautiful purslanes in there, so I thought I would show that to you because I'm going to go make a salad out of it, basically, because that gives me an excuse to stop working in the greenhouse. But this is purslane, and purslane grows, if you see, it comes out from a center stalk, and it grows out, and it has these little, almost, they're often called mouse ear-like leaves, and it's a succulent. You can see it's very fleshy, and eating the leaves, they have a very fresh, lemony flavor to them. And purslane can be found in the garden without a problem. Most people will have it in their garden. Most people have probably cursed it as they weeded it out. They're like, oh, more of this crap, and they may not have known what it was, and they pulled it out and weeded it out. Well, of course, a weed is just a plant that's not in the right place at the right time. And this is actually, that's in two of my planters that I'm going to plant, and it's not in the right place at the right time, but it is perfect for me to harvest and eat. So I'm going to clip this off and take it in. Purslane has, like I said, a light, slightly citrusy flavor, but mainly what it feels like is fresh, and it can be chopped up into any salad. If you put it into a stew at the last minute, it'll help thicken it up. So it's really good at that. It's high in many different vitamins, and it's a good thirst quencher too because it is a succulent. And what it's really known for is going together with is tomatoes, and I always find that appropriate because usually most people who find it in their garden, and a lot of times right next to the tomatoes they'll find it. And so while you're weeding it out, set it aside so you can take it in and use it to eat with the tomatoes. And I've got a few tomatoes that are set and ready to go that have just turned ripe. In fact, they're probably that early tomato ripeness, which means they're kind of crunchy. But anyway, I'm going to take a couple tomatoes in, and I'm going to take my purslane in, and I'll show you how to make a nice little tomato purslane salad. Okay, so the first thing I want to do, I got some tomatoes out of the garden, and these are I raise both heirloom and hybrid. Some hybrids are not genetically modified, they're bred. I mean, that's all heirlooms at one time were a hybrid, and now we call them heirlooms because they stood the test of time. These are an early tomato, so they come in a lot faster. So I always put a few plants in just so that I have some early tomatoes. Now what I'm going to do here is I want to get all the moisture out of them, so I'm going to start by, I'm going to just scoop out the seed parts because that's got a lot of moisture in it, and just get rid of that. You can do this with a spoon, but hey, I'm going to do it with my fingers because that's the way I do things. Sorry. But anyway, just get the seed parts out of there, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to do 2 tomatoes, I do believe. Just again, I'm just trying to get all the moisture out, and we're going to do one other part just to kind of draw the moisture out. It makes this little salad taste a little better. Okay, and then another one, and I cut it kind of across where you can get down to the seeds, like so, and get them out. So, tomato out of the garden. And the last one. Yep. Of course, the last one's got to be a little stubborn. Doesn't want to give up its seeds. Okay, so then I'm just going to put, because I really do want to have as much of the moisture out of this as possible, so I'm going to put a strainer over this bowl. Wipe my hands there real quick. I'm just going to sprinkle some salt over the tomatoes. And the salt will help draw out the excess moisture. Okay. And then I'm just going to set them cut side down in the strainer so that they can strain or drain out the rest of their moisture, or the all the rest of their excess moisture anyway. And I'm going to do this for, about 10 minutes or so. So I'll be back here in about 10 minutes. But I've got my little tomatoes down here in the strainer. And like I said, I just do that because I don't want all that excess moisture and make my salad sloppy. So back in a little bit. Okay, so these have set for about 10 minutes, dropped a lot of their liquid out. So I'm just going to, you can kind of see they shriveled up a little bit. And these are new tomatoes, like early tomatoes tend to be. You can kind of hear the crunch to them. So we're just going to cut these up into smaller pieces, however big you like your salad pieces to be. That's what we're going to do. And I'm going to put them in this bowl over here. And again, just take out the core. Tomatoes are one of those things that chickens like, so all this juice and everything can go out to the chickens. Or if you don't have chickens, you can put it into the compost pile, of course. Okay, so there we've got our tomatoes in there, and now I want a little extra flavor, a little acid to them, so I'm just putting, I got a little of my, I don't even know what wine this was, but it was wine that went to vinegar. If your wine goes to vinegar, go, yay, I got vinegar. If it stays wine, say, yay, I got wine. So either way, they're both things that you need. And I'm just going to pour, if you don't have any homemade wine, vinegar, just any red wine vinegar or even a balsamic vinegar, whatever your flavor is, I'm going to pour just a few tablespoons, maybe 2 tablespoons over the top. And just let that set. And again, I want to absorb the flavors here into it, and that's kind of why I don't want to be putting too much of the tomato liquid in there. So I'm going to let these flavors marinate for anywhere, depending on how strong of a vinegar flavor you like, anywhere from 10 minutes to 2 hours. So I'm just going to let this set anywhere from 10 minutes to 2 hours. I don't know, I'm probably going to let it set for about probably half an hour. So I'm going to go out and check on my BBs. I've got some baby guineas, excuse me, out in the barn, and I want to make sure that they're doing good because I have to raise or lower their heat lamp depending on if they're hot or cold. So I'm going to let this set for a minute, put it in the fridge and let it set for a minute, and I will be back in just a little bit and we'll go on from here. Stripping the leaves of purslane is pretty easy. You start by holding the tip and then you just strip down the stalk, and then you kind of just pull the ones off the tip. If you get a few stalks in there, I don't worry too much about it, but if you're serving company, then you probably want to take those stalks off. They taste pretty much just the same way. They don't have much of a flavor. The leaves have that citrusy flavor. But anyway, right now we're just stretching. But the leaves have, to say a better texture. They're softer and they don't have as much of a crunch. So I'm just going to strip off what looks good compared with the tomatoes that I got in here. And I'm just going to strip off a little bit of that. So back in a minute. I guess I kind of forgot to tell you, purslane, because it grows very close to the ground, needs a good washing. Make sure you wash it really well. I didn't show it yet, I just washed it. And depending on how many tomatoes you have and how much purslane you want in your tomatoes, if you have 2, normal sized tomatoes or 1 big tomato, 3/4 of a cup to a cup of purslane you put in there. So I'm just going to put that in. Clean up my mess here. In a minute, put those in there. Kind of swirl it around. Now I got some sheep's milk cheese here. If you can get yourself some goat's milk or sheep's milk cheese that has a good tang to it, that's your best bet for your cheese. I make cow's milk. Whoops, hello. Where am I? You guys can't see what I'm doing. Let's bring this over here. I make cows. I have cow's milk. I have cows that I milk, and I make cow's milk cheese. Like mozzarella is my favorite cheese on the planet, and Colby. Those are my 2 favorites, I should say. And I like sharp cheddar. And okay, I better stop myself. I love Munster. But anyway, every now and then I'll trade some of my cheese for one of my friends who has goats, and I'll trade some. of my cheese for her cheese, which is highly illegal because you're not allowed to trade in cheeses here in America's Dairyland. But, I don't know, quarter of a cup to half a cup of that stuff. Kind of mix those in so that they're all nicely mixed together. Then I take, depending on how much basil you like, anywhere from 5 to 10 leaves of basil. Or if you got big leaves, you might want less of them. If you got little leaves, you might want more. Anyway, I just roll them up and just kind of chop them into little strips, except for that one didn't want chopped. Okay, now we're going. Just into little strips. I got about 6 leaves here, so, and again, these should come out of your garden. If you don't, it goes without saying, go get some organic, locally grown basil leaves. They'll be much better tasting if you can get them locally grown. And now I've just put those in there. It's the last of my chopping. And then for your olive oil, about the same amount of olive oil as you put vinegar in there. Whatever your vinegar was, put about that same amount of olive oil in there. So, and you probably should be mixing this while you're doing that. Oh gosh, now, my goodness. Okay, I'm going to just put this in real quick. That looks good. I'm going to let this set for about half an hour in the fridge. I'm going to cover it up, let it set for about half an hour in the fridge, and I will bring you back to show you I'm actually going to... Okay, first I'm going to totally mow down. Oh my god. Okay. I gotta put this, let it set so that I'm talking to you with my mouth full. I'm going to let this set so that all these flavors can marinate and come back, and I'll serve this up in about, I don't know, 15, 20, 25 minutes, however long I can keep myself away from it. So, I'll be back in a little bit. And there you have it. It's a Purslane tomato salad. I crumbled up just a little bit more of the goat's cheese on top of it, just to kind of give it a little bit more of a fresh look, and also give it a little bit more of a fresh flavor. And that is I'm talking to you with my mouth full again. That is just excellent. Very simple, very easy to do. Purslane and tomato salad. And it's really good. A little extra free food from your garden. Go out and harvest some purslane. It goes into any salad. It is made to go with tomatoes. I mean, they go together so well. But it'll go good. It'll add just a little hint of citrus, but a very fresh flavor to any salad. And to me, it has more flavor than like lettuce and things like that. So it's just great for that addition. But Purslane and tomato salad.